One has noted that we have the minister on the call and 2 deputy ministers on the call, as well as Lieutenant General DP Mboto, Brigadier S.A. Basi, Brigadier S.M. Maponya, and as well Colonel I.M. Mlambo, and Lieutenant Lehari, and Lieutenant Colonel Y. Mpomani. Further, as well, we have SIU, Mr. Leonard Lekheto, who is the head of SIU and his acting. So these are the people who have joined us today that are on the call. You would note that members with us today, we have Honorable Matobeni from the Eastern Cape representing the EFF, and Honorable Mzamo from KZN representing the DA, and Honorable Pirwana Phala from Limpopo representing the ANC, and Honorable Khosi Nowe from the Free State representing the ANC, and Honorable Zulu from Mpumalanga representing the MKP, and Honorable Ufenze Jeremiah Mukai representing the DA from the Northern Cape. And yeah, these are our members on the call from the Senate Committee. I would now, Gesh, can you fly to the agenda for us? Thank you. The agenda for today is before us, honorable members.
Recording
so I was
in
just
progress.
making introduction on members online and on call. We want to welcome as well our supporting staff who are online and the PMG, those who always monitor our work, and those who are on the platform. One would want to welcome the DPCI and SIU to our meeting. This meeting was called due to a request from Honorable Gaza. It is, however, important to mention that calling the departments who are responsible for addressing fraud and corruption in the security and justice sector forms part of the committee's strategic plan and APP. We note the recent media reports related to the Department of Home Affairs, where the SIU uncovered organized corruption, where officials sold visas, permits, and permanent residence documents. We welcome these positive steps to address corruption in the security and justice sector. The President, in his State of the Nation address, placed emphasis on addressing corruption in government departments, and it is with this in mind that we look forward to the detailed reports for both the SIU and the DPCI in respect of the departments of our committees that we oversee. So with that being said, members, now it's 10:03. One is officially declaring this meeting opened, and I would like to go straight to the apologies so that we can get to the adoption of the agenda and apologies. Over to you, Gesh.
Thank you, Chairperson, and good morning, Chair and honourable members and Acting Minister and Deputy Ministers and delegations. Chairperson, we've received an apology from Nkosi Nonkonyana. He's currently in transit, Chair. He will arrive later. And then also Honourable Gericke is having some problems with his device, Chairperson. He will try and log in as soon as he can. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Gesh. We know that Honorable Gericke was involved in an accident, so he's trying to actually get back his gadgets. So his apology is noted and it's in order, and Honorable Nonkonyana as well, apology has been noted. I'm not sure if you didn't receive the apology from Honorable Kim, because he has submitted the apologies through the presiding officers with regards to this week.
Unfortunately not, Chairperson. I will make note of that.
Okay. No, thank you. Members, now I would open for adoption of the agenda and apologies. Honorable Mukai, over to you.
Good morning, Honorable Chairperson, and good morning to
colleagues on the platform. Good morning to the ministry, the DMs, and good morning to our support staff. Honorable Chairperson, I would like to move for the adoption of the agenda as well as those apologies received. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Mukai. Honorable Kotzel, you are welcome.
Good morning,
Over to you.
Chair. Good morning, Chair, and all the other people on the platform. I'd like to second.
Okay, thank you. The agenda and the apologies have been adopted and seconded. I see the hand of Lieutenant Colonel MP Silian. What is happening?
Good morning, Honorable Chair. I'm Brigadier Basi from the DPCI. I would like to tender an apology for our acting national head, Lieutenant General Nkosi, who's on leave, and Lieutenant General Mboto, who's out of the province on official duties. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you. We have noted those two apologies. However, please note next time we process our apology through our Secretariat office as the committee. However, we'll note that members, without wasting time, I would now hand over to the minister or one of the acting ministers to do the opening remarks so we can continue with our meeting. Because one have noted that as much as the minister has joined us on the platform, he's off sick. So I'm not sure who's going to be doing opening and opening remarks in terms of making sure that we get this true presentation before us.
Good morning, Chairperson.
Morning, Minister.
Maniso. Good morning to the members of the committee, DM Boshelo and DM Matale, all the senior officers on the platform. Yes, Chair, I do have a bit of a bad flu, but I thought I'll attend at least for an hour. Excuse me.
Minister?
Yes.
Yes, because I know that you are sick and we can hear that you are sick. Is it possible for you to hand over to one of your acting ministers so that you are not disrupted by coughing? I think it's fair. We know that you are committed to be with us.
Yes. They are actually deputy ministers, not acting ministers. I was going to hand
Sorry,
over to them.
deputy.
Yes. I think this acting business is confusing a lot of people.
Yeah, remember yesterday we were together with them, so there's still some long over.
Yeah.
Minister, she's bringing their conversation in the joint committee to this platform, Minister.
Yes.
Okay. Over to you, Minister. You can continue.
Yes, I will stay for some time, but I am handing over to my colleagues in the ministry. I just wanted to make 3 initial points to share some observations before the presentations are made by the DPCI, sorry, and the SIU. The first is that I think, and this flows from a discussion we had in the ministry, that consideration should be given to a joint, more integrated report in the future so that we can encourage the agencies and departments to work together to achieve results. And I think the way in which we report to portfolio committees is one way we can do that. These reports focus on investigations, but clearly we need to look at what action has been taken with respect to asset forfeitures, for instance, and prosecutions and so forth. And we did raise this matter with the respective agency heads when we met with them. The second concerns the period of time it takes to conduct investigations which are often inconclusive. And obviously that raises underlying systemic issues which can't be resolved overnight. And sometimes they might relate to the complexity of the cases. But it is a matter that the committee will probably take note of. The third has got to do with where there are indications of systemic problems, so that we don't look at each of these matters, just case by case, because sometimes it's suggestive. The number of cases and the kind of cases suggestive of a broader pattern, which is what I mean by systemic corruption. And it would be helpful to adopt that, to have that, bear that in mind. Maybe I just make a final point that when we're dealing with the security cluster, there are obviously sensitivities about the way in which matters are considered and communicated, which I think should be taken into account. But in any event, thank you very much, Chair, and the members of the committee for this opportunity to make the presentation. And I will leave questions and so forth to the officers on the platform, as well as the two deputy ministers. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister. You can now switch off your mic. Thank you. Now we can continue with our meeting and get a presentation from DPCI, from Lieutenant General DP Mboto, the acting national head. Over to you. And please note that we got this presentation prior to this meeting. Just emphasize on matters that you think that you would want the country and viewers to know them, as well as the members of parliament, as matters of emphasis. And please indicate as well where you need assistance from us as the SC. Over to you.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. As I indicated, that General Mboto is out of the province on official duties. I'm Brigadier Basi, representing the DPCI. Honorable Chair, honorable members, honorable
Brigadier Basi.
Basi.
Before you continue, can we see you? Then we can switch off if you have a problem with your gadget. But if everything is in order, just remain on video and continue with the presentation. Okay, we can see you. Are you fine, or would you like to continue with the video off?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. May I request that I continue with the video off?
Okay, over to you. Thank you.
The disturbance, yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Chair, honorable members, acting minister and deputy ministers, all senior officers on the platform, good morning. Our presentation today, we will start with the executive summary. If we could move to the next slide. There are 41 matters on hand within the DPCI, of which 14 are on the court roll and 4 have been submitted for decision, whilst 23 are still under investigation. Then we can move to the next slide. There are 14 matters talking to the Defence Force. Then we can move to the next slide. Then there are 5 matters, Honorable Chair and members, talking to the procurement within the South African Navy. They are all within Simonstown. They were referred to the DPCI on the 3rd of July 2024 by the military police. Our investigation in these matters, all 5 of them, they relate to procurement in that space. And the matters, they've been, 3 of them have been taken for decision, whilst 2 of them, the prosecutor and the investigation team, they are busy with the consultation with the witnesses. Then we can pass all the Simonstown cases, because they talk almost to the same procurement issues. And then we move to the Vierdebrug case. This case relates to 2 individuals within the South African Army Foundation who are employed in that space, who claimed money as commission or bonuses for themselves to the amount of 40 million, which was then deposited into their account. The allegation is that that was not supposed to have happened, and then a case of theft was then reported with us. The matter is still under investigation. There is a litigation at the moment in the court relating to the search and seizure. Thank you. We can pass. And then the other matter, Pretoria Central 2 of 2, 2022. This matter relates to the procurement within the DOD as well. It is alleged that the procurement process was not followed, and a possible collusion in respect of the 10 contracts amounting to 273 million was then, which that contract amounts to that amount, 273.5 million. The investigation is ongoing, and it is at an advanced stage. Then we move to the next one, Pretoria 434. This case also in the same space. It relates to the procurement and importation of medication from Cuba during the COVID-19 pandemic. And the matter is under investigation, and it is still continuing. It was reported to the DPCI on 2023-08-21. Thank you. Okay, that's the Garsfontein matter now, which was reported on the 1st of August 2023. This matter came from the Auditor General of South Africa, and it is also under investigation. The investigation is continuing. It was reported in 2023. Then we have Sunnyside 166 of 9, 2022, also relates to the same environment. Here it is alleged that 5 entities were awarded contracts without following proper procurement processes, and the amount, a potential loss thereof linked to it is 43.5 million. It is also under investigation. The next one relates to the Department of Military Veterans. There are 3 cases. They follow each other, 732 and 734 and 733. These matters, the first one relates to the traveling arrangements within that department, that the procurement processes were also not followed in that space. The investigation is at an advanced stage. We're just awaiting the forensic report for that matter to then be taken for decision. While 733 is also under investigation. There were machines that were procured. They are called the behind roller machines to the amount of 25.5 million. And the procurement of these machines was completed, they were delivered, but the machines have not been utilized since the date of purchase because DMV had no rollout plan. So the investigation here is also at an advanced stage. And then 734, the issue here was the training of security officers for them to get their grading in terms of the SIRA regulations for all the gradings from E to A, A being the highest, and then also to obtain driver's licenses thereof. 123 members are said to have been trained. However, the service provider that was appointed did not meet the SIRA requirements because that company was not registered with SIRA. They then appointed a subcontractor who trained those security officers. However, the security officers were trained, then received their certificates from the appointed security company that did not train these individuals. And then that matter also, it is quite at an advanced stage. And then the other matter, Littleton 4 of 10, 2025, it is in the same space. It relates to a awarding of a contract for a drone capability to a service provider for an amount of 41 million without following proper procurement processes. That matter was reported to us on the 1st of October 2025. So it is still under investigation. That is all on the matters relating to the Department of Defense. Then we move to the matters in the Justice Department. There are 7 matters. The first matter is currently before court. The Honorable Chair and Honorable members will have seen in November last year, late November, I think on the 26th of November, a judge and a priest of a prominent church were arrested and other individuals for corruption and money laundering, where it is alleged that the priest paid a gratification to the judge in order for the judge to rule in his favor in a church dispute matter that was before court. So the matter will be back in court on the 23rd of July 2026. And I must also mention in this case, Honorable Chair and members, that that same priest also appears in the matter of Home Affairs relating to the allegations of irregular and fraudulent issuance of permanent residence permits and visas to undeserving foreign pastors and prophets who are running churches here in South Africa. So he appears in that list on that investigation as well. Thank you, Chair and honorable members. The next matter is from Umtata. It's Umtata 642 of 10/2022. It is also before court. This one relates to the payments linked to the maintenance, where individuals within that office in the Department of Justice took money for themselves. They stole money and used it for their own personal use. So this matter will be back in court on the 8th of April 2026. The next matter also in Umtata, it is also before court. It will be back in court on the 11th of June 2026. We move Makanda 42 of 8. This is a case in the master's office that was reported to us on the 11th of August 2025 by the Department of Justice. The matter is still under investigation, and it's a company that was provisionally sequestrated then they failed to submit the documents that they were supposed to have submitted as they were ordered, and they hid a certain account where they were still receiving money. So in terms of the Insolvency Act, that matter is being looked into. And then there's a Madeira case, 179 of 2018, which is also under investigation. This relates to service provider who was appointed to supply diesel and fixing toilets in that area. And then it is suspected that the officials received kickbacks, and the matter is, the investigation has been finalized on this one and has been taken for decision now. The next matter relates, it's the Pietermaritzburg case, 71 of 7, 2024. The case relates to the theft of funds at the master's office in Pietermaritzburg. The actual beneficiaries here did not get what was due to them. Hence, the funds were thus deposited into an unknown account to the actual beneficiaries. So this matter is under investigation, and it amounts to 1.6 million. Pretoria case, 315 of 9, 2023 is also under investigation. This matter relates to cybercrime, also in the same Department of Justice, where monies were channeled to different accounts of undeserving individuals. And then, Chair, we move to the Department of Correctional Services. There are 3 matters. And then the first one is Pressbury, 7 of 8, 2020. The investigation in this matter has been finalized and has been taken to the Director of Public Prosecutions for decision. The next one, also from Pressbury, also has been submitted for decision. We are awaiting the decision in that regard. The next one is Mercado, 11 of 10, 2020. This one also, it is before the DPP for decision, where this one talks to the grant of the inmates that was stolen. Then we have matters relating to State Security Agency, 3 of them. We have a Cape Town case, 1572, which is currently before court. It is back in court on the 13th of April 2026. It relates to corruption. And then the next one is the Littleton case, 101 of 6, 2020. It relates to fraud of an employee in that space who was a close protector of an individual in that space, who even after the individual had left the employment is said to have continued to then claim for travel allowances, accommodation, and SNT and all those things. The matter is at an advanced stage. They are just final loose ends that are being tightened, and then the matter will be taken for decision. The last matter in that space, also Littleton case 45804, 2021. The investigation in this one has been finalized, and we are just waiting for the financial report, which will then, once it is received, the matter will go for decision. Then we have the matters of the Department of Home Affairs. The first matter, it's a number of cases within Durban Central. Here we have a matter, or these matters relate to foreign nationals who recruited South African citizens, mostly from the impoverished communities of our country, where they will go to the offices of Home Affairs and they will have two queues, one for South Africans and one for foreign nationals. The South Africans will then roll their fingerprints in order for the system to open. And once the system opens, then the foreign national gets into the photo booth. His or her picture gets taken, and then they get passports, because they know these individuals from impoverished communities that they will not travel anywhere. So they will not need any passports. So foreign nationals will then travel using details of South Africans to travel abroad using those passports. So this matter, quite a number of individuals have been sentenced already, and the sentence combined is more than 300 years of these individuals, but the matter is still continuing in court with other individuals who are still pending. So it is back in court on the 31st of March 2026. The next matter, also within Home Affairs, it relates to fraud and corruption. It's a procurement for firewall and hardware, software licenses that was issued in that department. And it is alleged that the service provider as well as the officials are linked, and there could have been some conflict. And then the matter is still under investigation. The amount is 119 million that is involved. Then we have a Dundee case, case 2748/2025. This matter is still under investigation. Here it's where people within the Department of Home Affairs reprint birth certificates, and they issue them to foreign nationals, mainly for minors who enter our country illegally, and then they get these certificates. Then they get to either be registered in schools, and they continue with their work, and then the officials get paid for that. So the matter is still under investigation. It was reported on the 7th of January 2025. Then we move to the SAPS procurement related cases. There are 6 cases. The first 4 are before court. They are back in court on the 18th of June 2026 in the Eastern Cape province. It relates to the procurement of furniture relating to the late state president of our country. This one, the next one, Brooklyn case 651 of 8/2022. It relates to procurement linked to PPEs, which is under investigation. And here we are awaiting the declassification of documents, and then the matter could then be taken for decision. The last matter, Chair and honorable members, relate to it's Sunnyside case 99/10/2024. It relates to the Telkom Towers building of the SAPS. The matter is under investigation, and the investigation is continuing. The allegations are that the procurement processes were not followed, and there is an allegation that some SAPS officials received some kickbacks in this regard for no work delivered in relation to this. Honorable Chair and members, I submit.
Thank you, Honorable Basi, for, I'm saying Honorable now, Mr. Basi, for being precise and talking to the document. I think members were able to follow through because of You are not reading word by word, and it's something that we appreciate when you come before us because of the time that we have. Now I would hand over to the SIU, Mr. Leonard Lekgeto. Over to you.
Good morning, Chair, Honorable Chair, and good morning, Honorable Minister, Honorable DMs, and Honorable members present, and also to my colleagues from the Hawks that are present, and everybody that is in the platform. Chair, we will be presenting as the SIU. Let me share in the meantime while I'm talking. Our presentation, Chair, it will consist of several departments that we currently investigating. And I'll do the presentation with the COO, Mr. Sibe, and also the Chief National Investigating Officer, Mechabalala. So the three of us will do the presentation, and we've got our colleagues in the platform also who are managing this different investigation. We'll also try and be speedy in terms of presenting. Can I also ask Chair to be not to switch off my video so that I can able to save the bandwidth?
Mission granted. Over to you.
Thank you, Chair. Let me put it in a slide mode. So, Chair, the presentation outline will deal about the SIU briefly, and also will outline the motivation process so that the committee can know how do we get matters through the SIU. And thereafter, we'll do the update on the investigation, where we'll also outline the observation and finalize with conclusion. In terms of the SIU, Chair, when we do our work, we look at the Constitution in those particular section, and also the legislation of the SIU, whereby it's a special investigating unit and special tribunal, where it's a key in terms of how we conduct the investigation. The next slide just outline the mandate of SIU. The major function is to investigate corruption, malpractice, and maladministration, and also to institute civil proceeding. Once we investigate, we found that there's something that contract was not followed properly in the award, we can institute civil proceedings so that we can recover. And we also have that provision where we can second our member to different state institutions. Then in terms of the powers, we've got the power to subpoena, do search and seizure, and also to interrogate witness under oath, only when the proclamation is issued. And also, like I indicated, we've got the power to institute civil litigation to recover state fund that is lost in order to prevent future loss. And what is out of our mandate? We don't have the power to arrest, to prosecute, and also we don't have the power to implement disciplinary action, but we work closely with a relevant agency where our powers shall fall short. This slide, Chair, I know it's very busy, but it's just outlining the ecosystem of the fight against corruption. As you can see that on the top, there's prosecution, then there's investigation. In terms of investigation, we've got different organizations that conduct the investigation. And when you go underneath, you can see that it's prevention, where we say it's uncoordinated, whereby we've got different departments that are conducting prevention, but there isn't any single agency that is responsible for prevention. We presenting this so that the Chair can able to know that we have put ourselves, whereby we say as much as we're investigating, prevention is very, very important for us, where we're trying to prevent. And in that process of preventing, there's quite a number of things that we have put in place, where we are currently finalizing the National Corruption Risk and Prevention Framework, which we are going to use it in order for government to use it in order to prevent corruption. And some of the aspects in terms of the framework will include data analytic platform, awareness that needs to be conducted, education, ethic, lifestyle, and all those things. So in implementing this, we have started the process of establishing some of the forums. And the purpose of the forums is to bring law enforcement, civil society, and religious leaders and everybody in one place where we know that fighting corruption is everybody's responsibility. These forums are working quite well, Chair, where we are seeing traction in terms of the matters. And in terms of the critical skills, those are the skills that we keep: data analytics, forensic accounting, investigator, lawyers, and cyber forensic. Then in terms of what we do when we investigate, these are the outcomes that we get. The first one is civil litigation, where we investigate, and when we found that a contract was issued out irregularly, we do have the power to go to a special tribunal. Special tribunal is a special court dedicated for SIU matters, where we are able to go there and to present our matter, and the contract can be declared invalid and the recovery can be made. The other outcome we have is a disciplinary action, where we refer disciplinary action to the department so that they can take action against whoever has misconducted themselves. The other one is referral to National Prosecuting Authority. If we come across any evidence of criminality, our act enjoins us that we must refer that evidence to National Prosecuting Authority. Then they are able to refer it to the Hawks or to the police so that they can take action. Then the other outcome is the referral to regulatory bodies. This one we referring to, for example, SARS, Competition Commission, and the CIDB, where we are saying that the professionals that are involved, we don't leave them behind, particularly where they are involved in terms of the irregularity, so that their professional bodies can take action against them. And the last one is the recommendation for blacklisting. Also, when we found any company that has been involved in any irregularity, we recommend to the department so that they can follow the process to make sure that the company is blacklisted. At the bottom is systematic recommendation, where as we investigate, we identify the systemic issue, as the ministers was indicating about the systemic corruption. The whole notion is that when we investigate, we don't want to come back. We identify the gaps, the risk exposure of the department, so that they can implement the mitigation, so that whatever happened does not happen again, because we are very, very serious about making sure that corruption does not happen. That's why we emphasize the issue of the prevention. Then in terms of how matters get to SIU, in most instances, we receive allegation either from the DG, ministers, or for member of the public, where they give us allegation. We register that allegation into a case registration system, where we prepare for assessment. Assessment is just a committee that look whether does this matter fall within the mandate of SIU. And once it's followed within the mandate of SIU, they will recommend that a motivation for proclamation should be prepared. And once it's prepared, it's going to be sent to the president, where we're going to get a proclamation. But when it doesn't, we close it. And when we close it, we refer it to the relevant institution, so that we don't leave matters hanging. Then when we prepare for a proclamation, after we've prepared for proclamation, the proclamation that we prepare will go to the Minister of Justice, whereby the Minister of Justice, after signing, the motivation will go to the presidency. Once the president has signed, that's when we can start with the investigation. That's where the powers of SIU can start. Then in terms of the portfolio of the matters that we have done in the security cluster, you can see there that we have done the Department of Justice and Correctional Service, where there are 3 proclamations that we have dealt with, and all the 3 proclamations are completed. And we also done with the Department of Defense and Military Veteran, where currently there are 3 ongoing, and there's 2 that has been completed. DNL is still ongoing. South African Police Service, the matter is completed. And the Department of Home Affairs, the matter is ongoing. And National Treasury is ongoing. And Department of Social Development, also that one is completed. So those are the matters that we're going to deal with in terms of our presentation. And from now on, I'll hand over to Ms. Chabalala, who will take us through some of the matters that I've outlined here, Chair. Thank you so much. Ms. Chabalala, you can take over.
Okay, thank you, Head of the Unit. Honorable Chair, I'd like to ride on all the protocol that has already been observed. And now looking at...
Thank you. Can we see you as well before you switch off your video?
Okay, no, thank you, ma'am. I think it's my camera on your side, Honorable Chair.
Yes, you are on. You can switch off if you have a problem as well with the bandwidth.
Okay, no, thank you so much, ma'am. Yes, now looking with the first proclamation, Department of Justice and Correctional Services under Proclamation 21 of 2020, and it was amended by R33 of 2019. This is one of those proclamation that have already been completed, and the allegations that we dealt with were as follows: collusion with officials of the state attorneys, acting without instruction from the client, overpayments, double payments, inflated claims, amongst others, and irregular appointment of services. Next slide. If you can just go to the slide that deals with the outcomes. The outcomes after yes, the outcomes are at the end of the investigation. For rent value of potential cash, we managed to recover over 54 million. Rent value of actual cash and assets recovered, about 4 million. Rent value of potential loss prevented, it was 45 million. Number of referrals of disciplinary actions against the officials and executives, we referred 10 referrals. Number of referrals made for administration action, it was 41. And the criminal referrals to the National Prosecuting Authority, it was 27, and the rent value of matters in respect of which evidence was referred for the institution and defense and opposition of the civil proceedings, it was worth 250, I beg your pardon, million. And number of cases that were referred to the special tribunal, it's 5 matters at the High Court, it's 11, and the number of proclamation closed were 2,331. Now, the recommendations at the end of the investigation, we made the following systemic recommendations to the institution: that the need for vetting of all OSA employees, there was a need for that. Employment of experienced legal practitioners, enhanced and continued legal education and training for all the OSA legal practitioners, reduction of workload, and absence of central archive facilities. That's what we identified as well. Moving to the next slide, now dealing with, yet again at the Department of Justice and Correctional Services under Proclamation R07 of 2022, Masters of Office. The background was as it appears, however, after we received the allegation, if you can go to the next slide, because this is also was reported previously, Honorable Chair, the SIU was actually mandated to investigate 8 focus areas. Amongst them, the first one is maladministration in connection with the affairs of the Master's Office. Number 2, any loss or prejudice suffered. 3, the incurring of unauthorized, irregular, or fruitless and wasteful expenditure. The 4th focus area on the next slide, the appointment of officials or employees at the Master's Office. The 5th focus area, it was interference by certain senior officials of Master's Office in pending disciplinary proceedings against the officials. The 6th focus area was the procurement of or contracting of cleaning services And the next slide was also the 7th focus area, the remuneration of fictitious officials. And the last focus area was any irregular, improper, or unlawful conduct by employees or any other person or entity in relation to all the above focus areas. And then if we're gonna now, because I've indicated that this investigation has been finalized, if we can just focus on the outcomes, which will be on slide 25. The outcomes were as followed. We actually made disciplinary referrals against officials and executives. 29 were referred, and administrative action, we referred 15. For the criminal referral for the National Prosecuting Authority, we referred 77 of those matters. AFU referrals, it was 3. And number of closed matters were 271, and number of referrals to the department to conduct of for the conduct of liquidators, it was 5. Yet again, as the HOU did indicate, that we did, after the recommendation, after the findings, we then submitted the recommendations. And as early as in April 2021, we did submit the recommendations that the appointment of the executors to be revisited, increase annual accounting by curator bonuses, the best practice on the handling of checks to be researched, officials to be rooted, limited prolonged acting positions, re-examine the discretionary power of the Master of the High Court, uniform policy to regulate the appointment of provisional liquidators to be implemented, independent monitoring of appointment of liquidators from the Master's Office list, and stricter security and monitoring measures to be implemented, verification of documentation to be done from inception, regular monitoring of the departmental whistleblower hotline, interactive public awareness complaints. Those were the recommendations that were done in 2021. Further, in 2022, 2023, September, we made further recommendations to the department whilst we were conducting the investigation. That legislative amendment by council's opinion to certain sections of the Insolvency Act regarding the appointment of provisional liquidators, i.e. the appointment of provisional trustees relating to the Companies Act, relating to the Judicial Matters Amendment Act, and relating to the Closed Corporations Act. And another recommendation in relation to the incorporation of AIPSA and SARIPA, and proposal on how to resolve the practice of adopting insolvency practitioners to the exclusion of PDs. We also, the next slides also cover other further recommendations that were done by the SIU, the last one in 2023 March being the withdrawal of funds from the deceased bank's accounts and the review of Chief Master's Directive 2 of 2015. Next slide now deals with another proclamation, which again has already been closed and has been reported previously, Proclamation R20 of 2020, and insofar as the PPEs. The allegation was that the Department of Correctional Services failed to comply with the applicable legislative prescripts when they procured the personal protective equipment during COVID-19 pandemic. And then the findings that were made is that failure to comply with the PFMA, that's what we found, and also failure to comply with National Treasury instructions and also the DCS SCM circulars. And the outcomes were 6 disciplinary referrals and the 2 investigations were finalized and closed. Then moving along to another proclamation, R41 of 2019, which dealt with Microsoft investigation, and this was at the Department of Defense and Military Veteran. The mandate that was actually given to the SIU by the president is to investigate the procurement of or contracting of Microsoft software licenses by or on behalf of the department and payments made thereof, and also any unlawful or improper conduct by the employees or officials of the department. Next slide, it just covers the outcomes that were found by the SIU during the investigation, that we actually found that insofar as the 2016 contract, the procurement process was not followed. It was irregular, and that the license were never used as well by the department. And then the SIU has proceeded to the special tribunal to set aside that 2016 contract and to recover the payment made to the service provider, who in this case was EOH Mtombo Pty Ltd. And the evidence on two officials who benefited from this contract were also referred to for criminal prosecution. And also the 2017 contract, the modus operandi was more or less the same, where the process was not followed to the T, and the licenses were never utilized or used by the department. And this matter, yet again, this contract of 2017 is before the special tribunal, because we intend setting it aside, and the disciplinary referrals were made to the department. Evidence was also referred to NPA, and the service provider, when we were doing our investigation, we uncovered that it actually inflated certain prices, and an acknowledgement of debt was signed between the SIU and the service provider, and the payment of that 41 million was then returned in full. And then the 2018 contract was also investigated, and it was awarded to now a different service provider, and we found that the competitive bidding process was not followed. The department failed to adhere to the relevant prescripts, and we also had taken this matter to the special tribunal to set the contract aside, and recommendations were made to the department for disciplining those that were involved, and suspicious payments were made to third parties. Evidence pointing to any fraud and corruption was also referred to the National Prosecuting Authority. The next slide is just sum it up on a high level, but I've already covered same from the previous slide. Moving along, now dealing with the new proclamation, R23 of 2020 in slide 33. The allegation received and the SIU was mandated to investigate the procurement and contracting for goods, work and services, including the construction, refurbishment, leasing, occupation, and use of immovable property during or in respect of the national state of disaster. The SIU received several allegations from the South African National Defence Force, and we met with them, and the documentation and contracts, or 10 contracts worth 273.5 million in respect of 5 entities was actually submitted to the SIU. The SIU finalized its investigation into procurement of these 10 matters and referred the matter for civil litigation. The matter, however, resumed in 2023. Okay, now the findings. What we found during our investigation is that the procurement process did not follow the relevant prescripts, your national instructions, your section 217 of the Constitution, and that the SIU found excessive pricing charged by service providers. And additionally, we also find collusion between officials and the departmental officials, I beg your pardon, and suppliers. and then over and above the excessive pricing charged by the service providers, fraudulent redemption of profits margins was also found, and furthermore, various money laundering attempts were uncovered. Senior counsel have been appointed, and papers are being attended to for application. And referral to also DPCI was also made. The outcomes were 33 criminal referrals, 11 disciplinary referrals, 6 administrative actions referrals to the Competition Commission, amongst others, 1 referrals to SARS, in respect of 5 suppliers and 135 beneficiaries. And then on 31 March 2025, the Special Investigating Unit obtained a preservation order from the Special Tribunal against the Government Employee Pension Fund and the Government Pension Administrative Agency, prohibiting them from disposing or paying out the pension benefit to the value of 1.5 million, which was due to one of the implicated officials. The SIU has already filed a review application to the Special Tribunal to nullify the contract valued at 275 million. Next slide. Now dealing with the Proclamation 23 of 2020, interferon alpha to be heparon drug investigation. The allegation was received that irregularities relating to the procurement of the said drug occurred, and that according to the allegation received, the department procured approximately 930,000 units of the said drug and paid approximately 217 million to Cuba. After the said allegation, the motivation was then was issued by the proclamation was issued by the presidency, and then the next slide now covers the findings. Under the bilateral agreement, it was found that South Africa and Cuba did sign an agreement concerning defense cooperation on the 10th of January 2012, cooperate to exchange information on science and technology in specified defense-related fields, and that 2 countries established a bilateral defense relationship based on this agreement, and the procurement of the drugs was based on the bilateral defense cooperation agreement. Under the Supplement 10 agreement, the department, represented by the chief of the department and the Cuba state, entered an enterprise called Techno Import, represented by its GD, signed this agreement on the 28th of April 2020, and its addendum to the bilateral agreement. And the first configurement was for 130 vial, which are these drugs which were delivered and paid by the department. They paid almost 33 million for them. And the second and third confinements of these drugs were also imported into the country, but were never paid for. And the department did not follow the prescripts of SAPRA, which is South African Health Products Regulatory Authorities, when they actually approved or when they entered into this agreement. And only 15 of the total drugs imported from Cuba were used, and the department did not recover the payments made by Cuba in respect of interference, and interference were found not to be fit for purpose by SAPRA. And then the outcomes on the next slide, the investigation is concluded and it's in the reporting phase. Systemic recommendations were made. Potential outcomes, institution of civil proceedings through the special tribunal. to set aside the contract worth 217 million, institution of civil proceedings through the special tribunal for the recovery of an amount of approximately 33 million, and referrals for disciplinary actions against 18 officials is underway. The next proclamation is R239 of 2025, and it's relating to the procurement of and contracting of inventory verification and continuous asset verification in respect of the same that outlined bid. And the second one was the supply, delivery, installation, and commissioning of an asset management system in terms of that also outlined bid, and then any improper or unlawful conduct by officials or employees of the department. Then next slide deals with the findings and the potential outcomes, because this investigation is still ongoing. Insofar as the first bid is concerned, investigating the procurement and contracting of the inventory and asset management contracts jointly awarded to two entities for the value of 461 million each. The investigation in this aspect is still in progress. However, potential outcome is the institution of the civil proceedings to set aside that contract, and instituting a civil proceeding through the special tribunal for the recovery of that amount, and potential disciplinary referral, systemic recommendation, and criminal referrals to NPA. In respect of the second bid, which is investigating the procurement and contracting of the supply, delivery, installation, and commission of an asset, and the contract value is 600 million. Again, the investigation here is still in progress, and the potential outcomes as aligned, which are setting aside the contract, recovery, disciplinary hearings, systemic recommendation, and criminal referrals. Next slide. Now it's proclamation R260 of 2025. We've been mandated to investigate the procurement of or contracting of goods and services by or on behalf of the department in relation to that one specific bid, which is outlined, which is for the supply and delivery of masks, surgical elastic loops, and earpieces, and also to any improper and unlawful conduct by the departmental employees. The findings are as follows. Original 25 purchase orders to a total value of 64 million were identified. We did experience difficulty in obtaining the information and it took us almost 6 months to get cooperation from the department. We only received the required information on the 4th of November 2025, which consisted of 6 boxes. And then whilst going through the evidence, the newly obtained information had significantly broadened our scope, as we have found that there were more contracts that needs to be investigated. Initially, the focus was restricted to 25 purchase orders with a combined value of 64 million. However, following a detailed review of the recently obtained information, we are now dealing with 55 purchase orders, and the total value is plus 139 million. This development effectively doubled both the quantity of the purchase orders and the total monetary value requiring examination. Okay, and next slide, it basically outlined the previous slide, because now we have two focus areas which deals with purchase orders without transfer payments, and there we will be dealing with the total number of 23 contracts to the value of 57 million. And the focus area 2, purchase orders with transfer payments, the total number has increased now. It is now, we'll be looking at 32 purchase orders with the total number of 82 million. And the investigation is ongoing. However, we foresee the potential outcomes being systemic recommendation, recovery, setting the contracts aside, disciplinary referrals, SARS referrals, and criminal referrals. Okay, we also have a secondment on the next slide 43. Secondment at the Department of Defense and Military Veteran, where we have been, we finalized the secondment to assist the department into the following investigation, amongst them being the procurement of 10 tablets using the RT15 of 2021 without training rollout plan, the procurement process followed by the department during the procurement of 90 roller drum machines without a rollout plan, the procurement process followed to appoint a certain entity. The investigation will further investigate transactions related usage of shuttle services, conferencing, and the provisions of accommodation during the ICT training, and any other transaction that may need further interrogation. The procurement of the venue to host a certain conference which was held in one of the provinces in Eastern Cape. This was done through internal supply chain processes, the procurement of Microsoft services, the ICT training done through CETA, the lease agreement between the department and certain entities without following relevant prescripts, assist management with any other investigations that may become necessary. And whilst we are doing this in secondment, whilst we have seconded our members, we have already identified and recommended some systemic recommendation. For one, under lack of consequence management, it was recommended that the department should consider immediate steps to enforce consequence management for all the SIU-DC referrals, ensuring that disciplinary actions are promptly and appropriately carried out. 2, non-compliance with accounting officers' instruction. This was as per our proclaimed investigation. I beg your pardon, Chair. It was recommended that immediate measures be taken to enforce compliance with the accounting officer's instructions, ensuring that information is provided within stipulated timelines. And the third one was information security risk. It was recommended that the department should develop a clear email policy prohibiting the use of private emails accounts for official business. This policy should be coupled with the implementation of email archiving to ensure all official communications are securely stored and retrievable. Additionally, secure email alternatives such as encrypted email services or official government email accounts should be provided to safeguard sensitive information. And the fourth one, unauthorized expenditure and budget mismanagement. It was recommended that a budget management reform be implemented, which should include the segregation of project budgets to prevent diversions of funds, as well as the development of budgets tracking and monitoring system. It was also recommended that the procurement process should also be enhanced to prevent transactions without sufficient budget to be approved. And it was further recommended that the budgeting and procurement system should be integrated to ensure seamless information exchange. The last one was poor record keeping, where we identified that there was, and then we recommended that there need to be a development of comprehensive record management policy, and also to assign a dedicated record management system to oversee the implementation thereof, install document management system to secure, store, manage, and retrieve electronic documents and records, and lastly, to create retention and disposal schedules to ensure that records are kept for required periods and disposed of securely and efficiently. Thank you. I would like to hand over to Mr. Sibe, the COO. That will be my presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Sibe.
Good afternoon, Chairperson.
Ms. Sibe.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. We can see you. I just
Thank you
wanted
so
to alert you that you must confine yourself within 10 minutes, because now it's as if we won't have time to engage. Don't go word by word, but speak to the document. As I indicated, we have received this presentation prior to this meeting. So do as the DPCI, please.
Thank you so much, Chairperson, for that guidance. I'm also writing on the protocol that has already been observed. Chairperson, in greeting everyone. I'm taking over now. I'll be talking to a few more slides, and I will do as guided, Chair. Denel, a state-owned company, we received a proclamation, which was R32 of 2019. This investigation is close to completion. The end date is anticipated to be 31st of March 2026. Can you move to the next slide, Mr. Legeto? I will just move directly to the focus area. The focus areas were about 6. The first one being then the project Hoefyster. That investigation, Chairperson and honorable members, it's already complete. We are in the final stages of potential recovery, which we are looking at 391 million rand from a banking institution. We have also referred some disciplinary matters to the institution, as well as then we are currently looking at the board members who were serving at the time, and we've already served them with the right of replies for some of the matters and the decisions that they made. Next slide. The HALS contract, which was part of the project Hoefyster, this was the contract that was awarded to the VR Laser Company, and the investigation is already finalized, Chair. We've instituted 2 civil litigation proceedings at Special Tribunal and as well as Gauteng High Court. The matter is still seized with our counsel, and the litigation is not yet started. In terms of criminal referrals, we've referred evidence pointing to commission of criminal offense against 7 former members of Denel Group, as well as then the other division of Denel to the NPA. We have been informed that there is some traction in terms of then some of the matters, because these investigations are now dealt with by IDEC. In terms of the disciplinary referrals, we've referred some of the members who were actually left in the employ of Denel. We referred to, and then we understand that Denel has not yet implemented the disciplinary recommendations. Next slide, please. Chairperson, in terms of then the legal services, we have outcomes there as well. We've referred a criminal referral to the NPA, and a case was opened, and we are in consultation with our colleagues. In terms of the disciplinary, we referred to LPC, which is the Legal Practice Council, for regarding the code of conduct in respect of then the law firm that was involved. We are also dealt with the administrative action against the accounting authority in terms of the Companies Act. Can we move to the next slide? Then the chart contract is part of then the steel fabricated goods and steel fabricated services. This is the contract that the government of South Africa received from the Chadian government. However, then they paid South Africa an amount of 92 million rand. Out of that 92 million rand that was paid, South Africa did not deliver any of the services that were procured by the Chadian government. If we can move to then the next slide, Chair. So there were 3 entities that were paid out of the 92 million rand that we received. Then the 15 million rand went to VR Laser. The 9.7 million went to a technical advisor who is based outside the country. And then the 13 million rand went to a company called ENE7, and nothing was delivered from all of the companies that were appointed in terms of this contract. Can we move to the next one? Okay, that was the third company that was paid at about 18 million rand, which failed to deliver those drivetrain chassis that were ordered. Next slide. Then the awarding of pilot bus license bursaries. There were 3 bursary beneficiaries that received then this the bursary from Denel, and the Denel, in terms of this, they actually went outside their own internal policies to fund these students, and these students were found not to be people that were deserving of this bursary because at least they had means. And then in terms of the bursary contract that they entered with Denel, for those students who were not successful, they had to pay back the money. So we managed to then reclaim an amount of 559,000 from one of the debtors. And then we filed papers for the default judgment at the special tribunal for then the second student who did not make it. So SAPS is already investigating the criminal matter and understand that the former CEO of Denel was arrested for this aspect. Can we move to the next one? Then the IT security assessment. In terms of this investigation, our lawyers are trying to quantify the claim depending on the expert report that was commissioned by Denel, we are told. So at the moment, the whole process that led to the awarding of this contract, which amounts to 6.5 million rand, was irregular. So we're just trying to consider then the recovery strategy. Next slide, please. Then the development of a white paper. This white paper, it's called the white paper. It's not actual fact the white paper. It was just the funding a solution for Denel that this entity was appointed to do. We've investigated the matter, and in actual fact, there were no irregularities that were found because our findings did not support the allegations that were leveled against Denel in terms of this contract. Next slide. Then the misappropriation of IP. We were looking at 2 specific missiles, the IP for P2 and P3 missiles of Denel. In this instance, Chairperson, I'm taking that the report has already been dealt with. We did find that then the IP was misappropriated by way of a business deal, which then turned out to be a process that would end up transferring the IP for both P2 and P3 to the UAE government. That investigation is complete. We have referred the criminal case to NPA, as well as then our CLU is dealing with the civil recovery because this is now a foreign state. It's being managed by our council, and we are hoping that we'll be able to at least interdict them from utilizing any of the IP retrieved from Denel as a result of these 2 contracts. Next slide, please. Okay, this is still the same. And then there is also misappropriation of the IP called RG35. In this instance, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members, the IP was misappropriated. It's actually within Denel. However, an agreement to sell the IP to a foreign entity was signed by Denel at the stage where Denel was within 3 months of it purchasing the land system South Africa. So within the 3 months period, then NEMA had already agreed with LSSA for the purchase of this IP, and unfortunately, this IP formed the material part of then the selling price or the acquisition price by Denel. So then an official who was not authorized to sign this agreement actually locked Denel into this process, and we are in the process of setting the contract that was signed aside, and also we are looking at then the breach of employment contract by that employee, because he immediately after signing the contract left Denel and went and worked for the company called NEMA out in the UAE, and he is currently now the CEO of NEMA, and he's the one demanding the IP from Denel. Next slide, please. Then the Saudis, there were allegations around the Saudis, but that investigation, we've investigated the whole process. At the moment, although there were some irregularities in the process and the way the officials of Denel actually managed themselves in the process of their business dealing with the semi-government, which is Saudi Arabic Military Industries, we could not find any link between then the IP and the transfer of the IP to the Saudis in this regard. Next slide. The next investigation would be the investigation within the South African Police Services. This was done under R23 of 2020, which was the COVID-19. The allegations were around a contract of 596 million rand that was awarded by SAPS to an entity styled Main Street Pty, which was trading as Red Roses. Next slide. We have, Honorable Chairperson and Honorable Members, established that the quotation was actually unsolicited because the whole process was outside the normal procurement processes and also in contravention of then the National Treasury practice notes. When the entity approached the SAPS, they also misrepresented in the sense that they alleged to have an Airbus that was ready to take off from China to South Africa to deliver the goods once the order was issued. And as a result of that, South African Police Service was induced to authorize this order when in fact there was no Airbus that was ready to take off from China. All the products that were sold to SAPS were bought locally and at inflated prices. Next slide, please. We've referred a number of disciplinary referrals to SAPS. If I'm counting now, Honorable Chairperson, there will be 5 because there was one that we referred last year in May for contravening the SAPS procurement policies as 217 of the Constitution, as well as Section 45 of the PFMA. Then again, in terms of the criminal referrals, we referred evidence that points to the commission of criminal offense against the director of Main Street, as well as the entity. So we also filed papers at the Special Tribunal for the application to set aside the contract between SAPS and Main Street. Next slide. Then we move to the next one, which is the Department of Home Affairs. Chairperson, I am not going to bore you with this slide because you've already read then the allegations that we received. Next slide, HOU. Okay, in terms of our findings, we've made findings and we went in public, Honorable Chair, in terms of then the findings on the Home Affairs investigation. So our findings are stipulated in these documents as per the category of the investigation that we dealt with. So I'm not going to detain the committee on these findings because you've got the presentation. Next slide, Chairperson. Next slide, and still ahead. In terms of the outcomes for the Home Affairs investigation, we've already referred 278 matters to the NPA, and these they include fraudulent supporting documents in support of study visas, temporary visas, and permanent resident permits, as well as temporary visa applications submitted at then the foreign missions. We've already referred 101 administrative referrals to the Department of Affairs for the revocation of study visas and deportation of the individuals. There are 7 disciplinary referrals that we have made and referred to the Department of Home Affairs. Then we've closed about 111 investigations. Next slide. Then there is also National Treasury investigation. We had one investigation, Chairperson, that we omitted. We apologize for that. That was proclaimed in prior this one. And this one is mainly then the amendment the amendment of the original one. But this new one it's new. We just received it, and the investigation is still ongoing. But the first one, we are already at the special tribunal for that, and there were just 2 main contracts in the first one. Next slide. Department of Social Development, in terms of R23 of 2020, we had 3 major allegations against those entities listed, and our findings are as depicted, Chairperson, in the table. In terms of the outcomes, the first one, which is Raquel Trading, signed an AOD to the value of 16,000 rand. For the LPS projects, the matter was referred to CLU to set aside the contract and recover the money. And then the last one, which was the Ivy Africa Group, matter is already like at CLU. However, the director, who's then the director of SCM within the department, was recommended for disciplinary hearing for his role in the appointment of then the mentioned service providers, all of them. Next slide, please. Then, Chairperson, we're moving to then the observations. The observations on Department of Defense and military veterans have already been alluded to and by the previous reporter. Then under Department of Justice and Correctional Services, those ones have also been ventilated by Ms. Chabalala. Next slide. On Denel, Chairperson, we have made those observations and which points to maladministration at the department, at these state-owned entities, and they are generic in terms of poor record management and poor contract management, as well as then poor security controls, especially with regards to the intangible assets, which then resulted in the misappropriation of IP. Then the next slide, HOU. Then we've made systemic recommendations to Denel, and those ones in the main were around ring-fencing of approved projects, including budgets, that would then at least alleviate these problems of utilizing the ring-fenced budget for other operational activities. Otherwise, then the money for the Who Fiesta would not have been utilized. Then the restraint of trade, then and as well as consequence management, which was also an issue. Then we also recommended the compliance with PFMA, Treasury regulation, and approved internal policies, as well as then the development of record management policy. Next slide, please. Then for Department of Home Affairs, then we have all of these systemic recommendations that we've already referred to the department, and I'm pleased, Chair, to report that most of these recommendations, Home Affairs have taken them seriously and they've implemented some of them. Next slide, please. In conclusion, Chairperson, we undertake to accelerate the finalization of this ongoing investigation. We remain committed to our constitutional mandate to investigate serious maladministration, corruption, and related irregularities within the cluster. We also continue to collaborate with the committee and other stakeholders to ensure accountability, expedite investigation, and uphold the principles of integrity and good governance. Thank you so much, Chairperson. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Ma'am Kresibe. Can we have the remarks from the acting minister, one of the acting ministers, so we can note the hands of the members with regards to both presentations that were before us? Honorable members, am I audible?
It's the deputy ministers.
Yes.
Yes.
Can we have one of them just making some remarks after these two presentations? Honorable Billy?
Sorry, Chair, good morning to yourself. I just wanted to check procedurally if we're correct. I think ordinarily the minister has given an overview of what was just presented. I'm not sure how is it now we are going to go back to the acting minister in the presence of the minister, because now we should be going into the questions so that we can at least save some time. Thank you.
I understand what you're saying, but as we normally do it, after both presentations from the departments and those who are leading the department before us, we normally take the closing remarks of the presentation before we can get answers from members. So not closing remarks, I just want remarks with regards to what has been presented before. And I've noted that it is one of the deputy ministers who must do that, and then we'll go straight to the questions by members. DM?
Good morning. Good morning, Chair. My name is Paul Bushelo, DM of Police. DM Matali will be able to make comments on our behalf. Thank you very much.
Okay, no, thank you. Then with that, because we like wasting time, let me go straight to members and note their hands for questions, comments, and clarity-seeking questions. Then immediately after their inputs and responses, we'll get your inputs. I'm noting Honorable Norway, Honorable Machobeni, Honorable Gotzel. Yeah, I've noted 3 hands from members. Thank you, DM. Now I'm going straight to members due to time constraints. Honorable Norway, over to you.
Thank you, Chair. Can I put off my video?
Yes, you are a little bit proper, but you can put it off and continue.
Thank you, Chair. Chairperson, let me appreciate the presentations made by the two entities, and my regards to the minister, the deputy ministers present, and all the officials and honorable members. The presentations were really very elaborative in terms of information, and that is much appreciated. Chair, I have got a list of questions that I were prepared, which I think perhaps maybe in terms of time they might not be well covered, and perhaps we'll forward them relevantly to where the answers should come from. But I must first, Chair, really express a feeling of dumbfounded or dispirited or disappointed looking at these presentations are covering the security and justice cluster within our government. And this report really does not reflect and speak to what the departments are all about. If really this is what is taking place within the departments, it definitely suggests something about the security and justice system, its state, due to how people entrusted with the responsibility of handling the security matters, people who are entrusted with managing the justice system, but they are the ones who are found to be on the other side of the law that they should be implementing. This is really calling for a different action altogether, which can be a subject for another time, as to whether continuing developing legislations and regulations will ever combat this scourge of corruption that has just been presented here before us in this entities or institutions of our department, whereby you will find the judge, the minister, the church, in other words, and people who are in a high esteem in the society. Let me step off the chair and also make a comment on the Department of Defense and Military Veterans. If you look at the money that has gone down the drain, if my calculations are correct, it's about 695 million. And this is the department that is struggling with its budget. And in total, once again, I didn't go into the SIU amounts, but the ones that I managed, about 1,428,000,000 that has gone down the drain. And this is really, really concerning. Chair, the first question that I would like to pose is that the investigations show corruption, fraud, and theft on a grand scale within DOD and DMV, as I have just said. So one would like to know what measures are in place to ensure key witnesses and whistleblowers are protected in this regard. To a major case, very concerning, relating to one military hospital failed refurbishment involving over 1 billion rand in irregular expenditure, which is confirmed that about 150 million was the actual loss. And this matter is finalized, but its finality is not pleasing, because the prosecution was declined due to insufficient evidence and also the death of a key suspect. So it is just disappointing and not acceptable in this regard, that why was the evidence regarded as insufficient, and also what was the cause of the death of the key suspect, if that report is available. Then next, Chair, the AG and SIU noted major systemic failures across the DOD and DNL, including poor records management, diversion of budgets, non-compliance with accounting officer instructions, cybersecurity risk due to the use of private email accounts, and the lack of consequence management. Then getting to the SIU, it recommended, amongst others, ring-fencing of project budgets, enforcing policies implementing consequence management, and establishing a compliant records management framework. Restraint of trade, were this implemented? If not, why not? Departments are responsible for paying the SIU for investigation. It does on their behalf, but it is indicated that the SIU combined invoices of about 55.9 million issued to DNL and DOD, with only 14.6 million paid last year, 2025, on the 12th of November. Were any amounts still outstanding, and the latest date for which information is it available? Last but one, Chair, the narrative pertaining to Sunnyside case where it's an unlawful security training contract, states that actual loss to DMV suffered. First amount, it's 4,050,000 rands, whereas the previous column states the actual loss is 4,500,000. So which amount is correct? Where all outstanding reports, financial and company records listed under outstanding investigations received on the expected dates? If not, why not? So what are the findings in each respective? Finally, Chair, where decisions received in respect of all cases awaiting DPP decisions? If not, why not? So what are the decisions in that case, Chair? And what I would like to get from DPCI, looking at the number of cases under investigations that are still outstanding, to me, it points to the direction that it's like there's a lack of capacity to investigate cases in terms of human resource. Can they confirm whether I'm correct or not? Chair, the Master's Office, I'm sorry to say this word, it's rotten. And I think this report is the second one that we are getting, and there's no improvement. And I don't think we need to continue just receiving reports without taking any steps. And I will suggest that going forward, we must take an oversight as far as Master's Court is concerned. Chair, thank you for allowing me this longer time, and my apology for taking long. I signed off. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Pito. We are noting as well Umpako for the Select Committee of an Oversight, of which it's something that must be done after these discussions for the next term program. Honorable Koza?
Matrobeni.
Mawuze ke isandla siphumile la.
Yes,
can
I
come
dropped
in.
it when you note my name. Then I've dropped my hand.
Oh, Honorable, you must not drop up until you participate. Honorable Matrobeni, over to you.
Ladies first, Chair.
Oh, thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Greetings to you, greetings to the honorable members, and greetings to the Minister and Deputy Minister, officials and sub-staff and the support staff. Let me take this opportunity, Honorable Chair, to appreciate both the reports. I'm so disturbed by these reports, Honorable Chair. I'm asking myself, where are we? Nonetheless, colleagues, my question based on the first report, the prolonged delay in resolving these cases raises serious concerns about accountability within the security cluster. Payments were reportedly made without proper verifications, which suggest a failure of financial controls and oversight. This situation raises the possibility of a corruption, in negligence, or a deliberate manipulation of processes. Chair, why verification procedure were bypassed, and why the investigation has not yet reached a conclusion? Transparency, accountability, and timely justice are essential to maintain a public trust in state institutions. Number two, Chair, why is the investigation take so long? What specific factors are causing the delay? And what is the expected timeline for the investigation to be completed? Number three, has any disciplinary action been taken against those involved? If not, why has no action been initiated while the investigation is ongoing? Then the last one, Chair, what mechanisms are in place to prevent similar incidents in the future? Have new controls or oversight mechanism or reforms been introduced? Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Machobeni. I'm noting the new trend members raise hands as it when other members are speaking. Honorable Kotza, over to you.
Thank you, Chair. My apologies for the background. If I may put off my video, I've had to swap from my laptop to my phone.
Permitted, over to you.
Thank you, Chair, and very glad that we're not constrained by a timer today. So I'll also use my full 10 minutes. Chair.
I said 5. Who gave you 10 minutes, Kotza?
Oh, no. Honorable Nawe, 10. I thought we were on a 10-minute timer today, but I'll do my best to constrain myself.
Try to constrain yourself.
Thank you. So, Chair, on the SIU report, I think it's a little bit more positive than on the DPCI report. Also very positive to note that departments such as the Home Affairs department is actually implementing the recommendations of the SIU reports. And in this regard, also recently we've seen the reports regarding the profits, the Nigerian rapper here in Cape Town. And my question is, what after the SIU reports in these investigations come out, what steps are taken to ensure then that the recommendations are implemented and that other agencies such as the SAPs, for example, are also included in addressing the outcomes? So, for example, the SIU report on the, I think his name is Prince Obioma. He is the rapper who lives here in Cape Town and crashed his luxury vehicle into a wall. And the SAPS has been investigating him for a year, but nobody ever realized that he's in the country illegally. And now that the SIU, for example, has indicated that he is in the country illegally, it appears nothing has happened. I've written to the Provincial Police Commissioner about this 3 times now, but no response. So, the question is, to what extent then is there really an effort to ensure that the SIU's report actually sees some action? And then further, there was the report on the COVID drugs, both from the DPCI and the SIU. And I noted that in some instances, or in most instances, that there are internal disciplinary recommendations and recommendations about civil litigation. To what extent then, civil litigation is another 3 to 4 years, depending on where you litigate. So, my question is, what priority do we give to these types of massive corruption scandals that now finally gets an outcome by the SIU? And again, congratulations on that. But to what extent can we, and perhaps we as a committee, engage other departments to see how there can be real consequences quicker, especially so that these successes of the SIU can be highlighted and actually prosecuted. Then on the DPCI, I wanted to say that I'm really concerned, Chairperson, that the timelines are so long. I mean, some of those complaints were laid in, 2018. I mean, it's 8 years now. If I take, again, the COVID matter, this is something I've been driving through parliamentary questions. Attention.
On my side.
So, as a committee, can you hear me?
Chairperson, Honorable Gotzel, we can hear you. Chairperson, are you still online?
Are we still connected?
Members, I'm just trying to get hold of the chairperson. Honorable Gospel, can I get an indication if you are still online?
Honorable members.
Chairperson, you're back.
Yes, can you hear me?
I can hear you now, Chair. We lost you for
Yes,
a
we
minute
hear
there.
you, Chair.
Okay, Honorable Gotzel, can you continue if you are not done?
Chair, I don't see him online. I'm going to contact him now, Chair.
I think it was him who had a challenge before, hence I was calling his name. Honorable Billy?
Chair, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. And sorry, members, for inconveniencing you. Over to you, Honorable Billy.
It's fine, Chair. And thank you again for the presentations. I think this is well overdue for the committee to have been appraised of what is going on with these two entities. I think the first biggest problem that we have is to have these two very important entities reporting to politicians. Maybe that's a discussion for another day. Now, to get to my questions, I will start with DPCI. Colleagues have spoken about the investigations dating back to 2018, 2012. My question is, what is the average duration of these investigations and why these cases are taking years to finalize? My next question is, of the 41 cases presented, only 5 have been submitted to the DPP. Can some explanation be given as to the slow convention of investigation into actually prosecutable cases? And lastly, what performance indicators are there or does the DPCI use to measure investigation successes? Now, Chair, when it comes to prosecution and case management, I think it is important for the committee to at least have an idea as to how many cases investigated by DPCI, at least for the past 5 years, that have resulted in actual convictions, and what would be the current backlog of investigations older than 5 years. But more importantly, also, I think Honorable Noah spoke to this, is the issue of capacity. Does DPCI have sufficient forensic, financial investigation, and cybercrime capacity to deal with these complex corruption cases? Chair, on this, I think it is concerning in this presentation that it is not simply the scale of corruption across the departments in the security cluster, but the pace of accountability is way too slow. Many of these investigations date back a decade ago, as I've said, yet only a handful have reached prosecution stage, and there is almost no indication of asset recovery among some of the things. Particularly alarming is the Home Affairs Passport Syndicate in KwaZulu-Natal in Durban, where corruption officials issued nearly 200 fraudulent passports. And this is just it's not merely corruption, it's a national security threat. But again, I think we must commend the Department of Home Affairs for taking steps to deal with these issues. And I wish that other departments could take the same route and deal with corruption. Now, when it comes to the SIU, Chairperson, The reality again here is that the SIU continues to uncover very serious corruption across the security cluster, more disturbingly. Yet, year after year, Chairperson, Parliament is presented with these investigations. We are told there are referrals, we are told there are recommendations, but very few prosecutions again, and very little money is returned to the public purse. And I think the reality and what we must accept as Parliament is that South Africans no longer want to see these kind of reports. They want accountability. And the key question that we must ask ourselves as this committee is whether the anti-corruption system that we have is actually capable enough of delivering justice, particularly for these two entities, Chairperson. The last question on this, on SIU, I would want to maybe get an understanding, especially when it comes to consequence management. In many of these investigations, the SIU recommends disciplinary action. But we do know that officials tend to resign or to move to other departments. They just simply change jobs from one department to another before they could account. And I want to understand from the SIU on what mechanism exists to prevent implicated officials from being recycled across these departments in the public service, which links to this, Chairperson, that the presentation itself, it highlights, sort of fragmentation in the anti-corruption ecosystem between the SIU, the NPA, Hawks, and other agencies. But I think it's important that we understand as to what formal coordination mechanism exists to ensure that cases do not just stall after being referred. And if the SIU has conducted any form of review of delays within the NPA or Hawks in acting on the SIU. And I think, Chairperson, for the benefit of this committee and for our oversight work to be much more effective, I think some of the questions that I'm asking could possibly require a much more detailed responses, written responses. And I think, Chairperson, I want to also support the view that we must keep our close eyes on these two entities. We must get regular reports on where we are with these investigations, because this is what people are missing in South Africa, where people are getting away with stealing public finances, and nothing happens to them. And I think these two entities have got a huge role to play. And I think Parliament has got a huge responsibility to ensure that there is clear accountability on what is happening. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Billy. Indeed, your comments, questions were detailed, and as well, we'll take some of the inputs as a part and parcel of our program for the next term, as we will be doing of physical oversight. Honorable Mukai.
Good morning. Can you hear me, Honorable Chairperson?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. No, thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson, for the input. I think most of the issues that I wanted to raise have been covered by colleagues, but there's just one specific issue, and I'm thinking, Chair, is coming across from all members in this session, the issue of time frame when dealing with these cases. But for me specifically, I want to find out, in the presentation from SIU, they spoke about the chain, how they obtain the proclamation. You would know that it starts and then it moves from the Minister of Justice, and then it has to go to the presidency. And I want to focus on the issue of how long is the time frame to obtain that proclamation, moving from those relevant state law enforcement and state actors, just to find out in terms of the procedure, because I think most of the time, the time frame when we are going to process these issues is what is grappling with members. So that will be my first one. And then the other one, I know the SIU, the provincial office, in the Northern Cape, where I come from.
Honorable
I want
Mukai.
to find out in terms of,
Honorable Mukai.
can you hear me?
Yes, can you switch off your video so that
Hello.
we can hear you better? Switch off the video.
Okay, now thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Is it better now?
Yes, you are better. I can hear you now.
All right. My first thing, just Chair, was regarding the time frame in terms of getting those proclamations. You'd note from the presentation from the SIU, there is a process that must be followed through before a proclamation is given. I'm interested in to know the average time from where the proclamation is processed. You'd know there are state actors that must be involved, including the Office of the Minister of Justice, and then he has to go to the presidency, who must also put his signature on the proclamation. And I'm interested to find out the time frame in that time. The other two aspects, Chair, you know that our interest also lies in our different provinces. I know the SIU have opened recently an office and they've got a footprint now in the Northern Cape. I want to find out in terms of the capacity of that institution or that office in the province, and maybe just also to give an overview of the footprint of the Special Investigating Unit across the country. Chairperson, those will be my questions. Most of these items have already been covered. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Mukai, for acknowledging that at least you know they have some footprints in your province. Honorable Khairik.
Yes, Chair, good afternoon, and good afternoon to the colleagues and also the members of the Hawks and the SIU. Chairperson, to start with, both reports from the DPCI and the SIU are very upsetting. It's appalling to read what we have read in these reports. Number one. Number two, the amount of investigations versus prosecutions is disproportionate. In other words, it's poor performance from both entities. Now, you have all these hundreds of millions of rands of fraud and corruption, and it would appear that there's no urgency whatsoever to bring the perpetrators before courts. And I emphasize, there's no urgency whatsoever because some of these cases date back to 2013, and yet there is no outcome as to which direction the cases will be taken, and whether people will be prosecuted. Now, it would seem that there's a lingering or some kind of carefulness, so to speak, to use a soft word, to prosecute some people. It may be because of some political intervention or political interference. The entities must inform us here today as a committee what are the hindrances as to why these cases cannot be concluded, because there's no reason that a case of 2013 cannot be concluded and submitted to the NPA for a decision to prosecute or not to prosecute. Number three, Chairperson, if you look at the amounts involved, it's exorbitant amounts. It means that these people did not fear anyone and anything when they stole these monies, when they corrupted the system. Now, my question in this regard is, what did the Hawks, for instance, before I get to the SIU, what did the Hawks ascertain in terms of consequence management? Where are the internal auditors and those accounting officers? How are they monitoring the system before the cases get to be prosecuted, get to the criminal justice system? I mean, certainly people must have inside mechanisms in their departments to monitor fraud, to monitor corruption, and to make sure that there's clean administration. So what did the departments, these two entities, ascertain, determine with regard to the accounting officers, the internal auditors, and every other committee that must hold people accountable within that department, so that we can also understand what did they do from their side over and above the criminal cases? Because many of these criminal cases come from whistleblowers, and it was not reported by those in charge or by the accounting officers, but by whistleblowers, in which case whistleblowers run the risk of being killed, as we see it now in the case of Babita and many others that are being killed because they expose corruption. I don't want to go through the amounts, it's going to take time, but the fourth point on this is to think that this corruption and this fraud is taking place in strategic key government departments. Can it infiltrate your mind? Can it go through your mind? Can you think? Or let me say it goes beyond thinking that such a lot of fraud can happen in the Department of Justice, for instance, where justice should prevail. But there's no justice. There's no justice for people that must collect their maintenance money. Their maintenance money is stolen, and the accounting officer is silent on this. The accounting officer is nowhere to be found. So I would love to hear, in terms of consequent management, what did the entities determine, ascertain, establish? What did the accounting officers do? The internal auditors and all the other organizations or entities within those departments that must monitor performance and performance regulations. Chairperson, going to the SIU, same assessment, very poor performance. It's long, drawn out, laborious processes that they're following, and it's taking many years to bring people to book. I don't have an appetite for the SIU. I'll tell you why. I once reported a matter to them. They came to interview us in George after they obtained our information, and we had a credible case with regard to water meters and all those type of corruption that was taking in the municipality. And after they've interviewed us and after they went to the municipality, after that, the Western Cape guys simply did not answer their phones any longer. They did not even give us feedback as to what was what. And I dare to say, and you can call me to order, it's colored in the Western Cape in a DA province. Therefore, they did not answer their phones. And we want answers on this, and we're not going to let this lay down, because we want answers. Even if there is corruption within the SIU, it also must be exposed. So I don't have appetite for them, but what I want to ask them is, after the proclamation of the president they signed off, where to do you take your findings? Must you take your findings back to the president so that the president determine which direction are you taking to the NPA? And if you are taking it to the NPA, why is the NPA taking many years to determine whether to prosecute or not to prosecute? What are the reasons for this? We want to know this today so that when the prosecuting authority comes before us, so that we know what to ask them and which direction to move. It's not going to help us to say that the former National Director of Public Prosecution has now resigned. There's a new DPP in place. We want to know, even with the former public prosecutor, we want to know what went wrong there. Why was there no prosecution, and why did it take so many years? That's my submission, Chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Khairik. I think this is one of the safe spaces that, as honorable members of parliament, we must use to raise issues of our constituency. So there's nothing that one can hold you out of order, but the SIU is here to come and respond on that matter. And one would want to as well indicate that you need to submit that case via Honorable Gershwin, so that we are able to follow through that particular case. We must never leave things unattended, because we are here based on those who feel that they are the voiceless. From my side, one would want to appreciate both reports that we got from DPCI.
Sorry, Chair, just before you.
Yes, Honorable Nonkonyan.
Sorry, Chair, I raised my hand. I'm sorry. I can realize that we are about to conclude quite correctly. I don't want to speak after.
I'm not about to conclude. We were doing questions, so I've taken questions of members, and now I was doing my questions.
Yes, I said before you. Chair, my apology about that just arrived. about both late arrival and then the background. May I switch it off? I'm in my office, of course, but I think it will take some time to connect in a proper gadget. My apologies to you, Chair, and the committee. Chair, to me, it is just one question, and one question only, which is worrying me for quite some time. Chair, since the time of the apartheid prosecutor Percy Yuta, the prominent prosecutor SC, right through all the prosecutors, we are actually inundated with this corrupt and corruption and things like that. I see the good work that all these agencies are doing, including the one that they've presented to us today, which I appreciate. But there's one thing that worries me. Are we dealing with the source of this corrupt and corruption? Because I believe where I am that in any corrupt dealing, there is a corrupter and a corruptee. And more often than not, the corruptee is the have-not, and the corrupter is the haves. That is the white-collar criminals, if I may put it that way. My question, which is cut across, what are we dealing with that? Because I believe that we will deal with these things until cows come home, unless and until we deal with the source, which I may be unfairly pointing to a wrong or barking at a wrong tree, I don't know. But to me, I've got a sense that there is a source of this that keep on pumping day in and day out, and in the process, corrupting good people that must service our people. That's the only question I wanted just to pose, cut across, to get a sense and a feel whether we have also a strategy to deal with that mischief, according to me. Thank you, Chair. My apologies again, members.
No, Honorable Nonkonyan, please don't do that. Honorable Muka, you can come in with 2 questions by Honorable Gotzel so I can ask my questions.
No, thank you very much, Chair. Straight to the point. Honorable Gotzel has devised got cut off. His question to the DPCI is, what can we do perhaps as a committee from Parliament and the NCOP, to assist the DPCI, to investigate faster? That's one. And the second one is just wanted to find out what are the successes they have had in the past year. So those will be the 2 questions, maybe our assistance from Parliament and this committee, and what are some of the successes that are coming through. Thank you very much, Chair, for your indulgence.
Thank you. I think the first one that you raised, we already noted it before, that problem of the gadget. The only one that was not noted is the last one that you have just asked. Thank you, honorable members. Now, I want to start by saying we acknowledge the report and presentations before us. And I want to advise in future to DPCI and as well as SIU that please let's find ways of minimizing the big volumes of our presentations, because one can tell on where we have just indication of total numbers of the cases that we have, for example, on Department of Defense and Military Veteran, slide 4, we could have just put it, all these bulletin to that column that says cases on hand as a bulletin, so that at least people, they don't pager on other issues, yet they can just be on one slide and continue reading their document. SIU, you have seen your problems. Each and every presentation of a department has a page that is just a number. And I think it's unfair for us who are receiving this particular presentation, because we would want to read page by page, but all of you would know a big volume of a document sometimes can compromise you or disadvantage you from reading the details, because thinking that, hey, there's too much of things that just are repeating themselves. But with that being said, I believe you are taking the counsel that the Select Committee of Security and Justice is useful. So whatever that you do it within those confinements of understanding that they would read whatever that you send to them for their oversight and accountability. My first question is that what are the main challenges experienced by the SIU and works in fulfilling your functions? What hampers your work and what could be addressed to strengthen your work moving forward in terms of staffing, capacity, training on collaborations with other departments? The other one is that what percentage of cases are successfully prosecuted, as other members could have alluded, because of we would need to get to understand the overall how many have been dealt with. And our colleagues are taking it further to say, let's get from 5 years back, what is it that has been done with regards to these cases and convictions as well? The other thing that I believe our members are raising it is the fact that let's see the levels of those who are being prosecuted in terms of which level they are in these institutions, because we know in those other cases that we are being shown that it's an official, the matter has been dealt with, this person has been arrested, you would find that it's just a junior administrator in the SEM. So in future, when you give us this report, just give us as well in detail the positions of those, as you have given them to when you were indicating on lieutenant generals and others in the defense. On other departments as well, just indicate their seniority in the institution so that we are able to get sense that here we are even taking charge those big fish. We are appreciating as well that in some areas there's a collection of monies, and I want to get a sense in terms of those who are paying their debts. What is it that the institution issue or give to them as a appreciation, or it's something that they would keep to show that they have actually paid their debts, they don't go scot-free? What is it that is been given on the other side? But we are happy that on issues of whistleblowers, one knows that there's a legislature that would be introduced where some of the issues that Honorable Gerik has asked about the risk of other whistleblowers, that we think that if we had preventative mechanism, we would have not been where we are. But because of whistleblowers are not protected, we are where we are in terms of dealing with repetitive offenders and modus operandi that is the same, more especially with regards to public procurement. And one is appreciating that with these two documents that are before us as presentation, us as members of the Select Committee, we would be able to take these presentations to these departments as we engage with them in terms of following through. What are they doing to ensure that you speed up the process of ensuring that these people are held to book? But the other thing that one would want to ask from my side is, other members have asked the issue of timeframes. And with me as well, I was asking myself, if both entities have a program of action that has a time frame that maybe they would want to say, this is our target for us to for such and such case. Do you have such in your institution? If yes, are you applying it accordingly? If not, why? So those are the questions from my side, and it's for both DPCI and SIU with regards to institutional arrangement on cases before you, and what is the turnaround strategy, if you have turnaround strategy as both a department. And as I'll be handing over to DPCI, please note that some of the questions that you feel that you would write in details through the secretary, just indicate, but those that you are able to respond online, you can do that. Over to you.
Thank you, Chairperson and honorable members. Chair, we've noted the questions and are appreciated. Chair, Honorable Noe asked what measures are in place to ensure that witnesses and whistleblowers are protected. Chair, in all our investigations, the witnesses are engaged, and where they feel that they are threatened or intimidated, we then engage as we work closely with the Witness Protection Unit of the National Prosecuting Authority, who then assist in putting them into that program, into the Witness Protection Program. However, that being said, also, some of the whistleblowers do not necessarily submit statements, and then they then go and expose themselves by saying, I'm the one who reported this particular case. So it is a humble request that if members of the public do happen to report as whistleblowers who will not submit statements, that they remain anonymous. Then that members of the public should not go and now boast that I have now reported. Be careful, something will then happen. However, where incidences are then reported to us, we then take precautionary measures, as I indicated earlier. On the issue of the military one, unfortunately, the cause of death, it is unknown to us. The matter was reported to the DPCI September 2021, and the investigation was then pursued. The DMV Sunnyside case, which amount is the actual amount, the investigation in terms of the financial flows is still continuing, and it is still to be determined. So that it's work in progress. Once we know, then we will be able to indicate the actual amount. And then, Chair, there was a question that our cases are taking long, and it comes out throughout the members of the committee that the investigations are prolonged, that the time frame is too long. Chair, I would want to indicate that these cases are inherently complex in nature and often involve sophisticated, designed to conceal unlawful activities. So therefore, they frequently involve numerous suspects or facilitators or beneficiaries thereof, which then increases the scope of investigation and evidence gathering. And then you find that usually they require the analysis of large volumes of documents, such as your procurement documents, your bank records, because there is a lot of layering where people move monies from one individual to the other or one entity to the other, and or back and forth at times. Furthermore, we are assisted by external stakeholders that we work closely with through the appointment of forensic and technical experts who assist us in terms of that. In many of our matters, external forensic firms get appointed to conduct specialized work, including, amongst others, your forensic accounting, the financial flows, and even technical assessments in your engineering or infrastructure related matters. This process is time-consuming, but necessary to ensure accurate expert findings. So at times, these appointments may take up to 2 years, just the process, the supply chain process. When you want to appoint a forensic firm, it can take a little bit longer at times. And most of these cases involve major procurement projects, which involve normally complex contractual arrangements, which require detailed examination. Then there was a question from Honorable Machobeni, which relates to the disciplinary investigations. And also another honorable member did ask that question. So I will just cluster. Once our investigations have established that there is a criminal case or irregularities that have been committed, we then refer the matters to the relevant department for departmental investigations to be conducted. We do that through supplying factual reports for those investigations to be conducted. Honorable Gottsel asked what steps are taken to ensure the recommendations of the SIU are implemented. I must indicate specifically on the matter that Honorable Gottsel spoke about, the pastors and prophets. We are working closely with the SIU. We share notes, and we even at times interview people together. And in this specific matter, so it is receiving attention by ourselves as the DPCI. It is under investigation, as I indicated in our report, that the one pastor is already before court, coupled with other issues. And then he also raised a concern by the timelines, 2018 cases. I think in our presentation, we did indicate that those cases came from the military police. They started investigation in 2018, then they were referred to us only in July 2024. Hence, the period may seem to be long there. Successes from Honorable Gottsel, successes in the past year. Honorable Chair and honorable members, we can provide that statistics. We will provide it to the committee. Average, Honorable Billy asked the average duration of the investigation. Chair and honorable members, I must indicate that our cases are, other than the delays that I indicated earlier, they are dependent on the cooperation of the witnesses and those who would have reported the cases as well. We are dependent on them. Some of the delays come during that period. Unfortunately, it becomes difficult to put a time frame. However, we work with the National Prosecuting Authority, the prosecutors, because our investigations are all prosecutor guided. And we have what we call a case plan, which is a joint investigation and prosecution plan that we work on. And there are time frames that we put for each case in order to monitor the progress. Also, Honorable Billy asked about the conversion to prosecutable cases. These cases, Honorable Chair and members, must be thoroughly investigated and complete to ensure they withstand the legal scrutiny in court. So one does not want to then rush through these investigations and then you leave gaps. And in the process also, you still have some litigation before you even go to court. There are litigations maybe relating to search and seizures that would have been conducted and so on and so forth. So that also cost us time a bit. The old cases, yes, Honorable Billy, we will avail that information 5 years and backward, we can avail that information. And also there was a question around the capacity building, which also came across. Yes, as the DPCI, we are capacitating, especially in the forensic accounting space, as well as the cybercrime. We are capacitating continuously in those two environments. Then the DHA passport security that are causing security threat. The matters are before court, as we indicated. There are those who have been sentenced already, and those who are still in the who are still before court. The matters are continuing in that regard. Then Honorable Gerik spoke about old cases, that there are 2013 cases and so on. So those cases, if Honorable Gerik would have seen in our presentation, there are about 3 of them. They are before court, all of those, and there are dates when they will be appearing again. The hindrances, I've spoken to that. And then Honorable Honorable Chair Mananiso, yes, in terms of the percentage of successes, we will provide that information. It is available. We will provide it in writing. The levels of those being prosecuted, we've taken note of that, and we shall make sure that it is available when we present next time. Honorable Chair and honorable members, I thank you.
Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel. Can we have SIU?
Good day. I think good afternoon, Chair, once again. In terms of the questions that have been asked to the SIU, I think some of them the brigadiers touched on them. So I think the first one that I noted was what measure do we put in place to protect our whistleblower? We follow the same process that the brigadier has indicated, and also we make sure that our whistleblower, they are protected. We engage with NPA, and sometimes we engage with, particularly sometimes even our members are threatened, Chair, whereby we make sure that we get them protected at all times. So whistleblowers are very, very key for our investigation. Then on the issue whether the department, particularly the Department of Defense and Department of Justice, are they paying SIU invoices? I can confirm that the Department of Defense, their invoice are up to date. Then the Department of Justice is paying. There's still some few money that is outstanding, and we are currently engaging with them, but they are paying. We can indicate that they are paying, Chair. In terms of Honorable Matsobeni, when he was saying, why is the investigation taking so long? I think Brigadier Bassi has indicated that some of the investigation are very complex. It might be one proclamation, but it involves more than 2,000 investigations. So we make sure that each and every investigation is investigated. Every focus area is investigated, and their dependency, we depend on the banks to give us bank statement, depend on the cell phone companies to give us the records and all other information that we require. So it's a quite big, and also it depends on how many accounts does the people that we're investigating have. Some people have many accounts where you trace money, move from this account to another, from another one to another one. So we make sure that we go to the last cent in order for a person to account in terms of the money. And the other question is a mechanism in place to make sure that what we investigate does not recur again. So what I've indicated in terms of our outcome, I indicated that we refer the systemic recommendation The purpose of the systemic recommendation is to identify the key risk or the things that are leading for the department to have experienced whatever that happened, so that we don't want to come back to the same department to investigate the same thing. So we make sure that we identify. After that, we take them through the process. There's a prevention team from us internally, whereby after we have produced the report, they are able to take our report and able to do a data analytics so that they can do predictive modeling to identify what is the real issues within the department. Are there policy issues, or is it the issue of the ignorance of implementation of the legislation? So we are able to go back to them and take them through the systemic recommendation and put up an action plan for them so that they can able to implement. So we monitor that so that they make sure that whatever we found is implemented. I think it's the other one was what step has been taken to make sure that recommendation is implemented. I think it's similar to the other one up there. So particularly to NPA, what we did with NPA and the Hawks and SAPS, we signed an MOU with all these three entities, which is the SIU, SAPS, the Hawks, and SIU. In terms of the MOU, we have outlined the process that needs to be followed to say SIU refer matter to NPA, NPA take it to the Hawks, and the Hawks investigate and they give feedback. So the whole notion of the MOU is to regulate so that we can able to make sure that there's a proper feedback mechanism that is in place. And also over and above that, the presidency through monitoring evaluation, they've developed a system. Currently, the system is in a proof of concept where all our referrals will be monitored through system. We put them through the system, they go through NPA, and the system will allocate a specific reference number where we can always track to say the referral pertaining to this reference number, what happened to it. And even NPA from their side, they must be able to give proper update into the system. And this system will be rolling out also to the department that we're investigating so that the department also can put feedback into that system. Remember, our report mostly goes to the president, and the president is the one who must ensure that the recommendations are implemented. So that system is put in place there so that they can track whether are the department implementing our recommendation or not. And on the issue of the civil litigation, that it takes long, but I can indicate, Honorable Chair, that we do have a special court, which is the special tribunal for the SIU, where we take our matters specifically there. So we don't compete with any litigant. The court only deals with our matter. So what we have seen quite a lot of progress in terms of our matter. And when we look at last year, I think there's a lot of matters that has been decided, and I don't think they take long. The only problem where we take long is when we go to a normal court, where there are other normal litigants, where we find that the court roll is very, very long. But in terms of the special tribunal, the matters are going quite fast. And for us to go to normal court, I think this happened before the special tribunal was promulgated. As you know, that I think it took place in 2019. That's when we started taking our matters to special tribunal. But there are still matters that are still in a normal court that comes long way, whereby we are busy waiting for the court date, and of which I do agree that sometimes some of these matters, they take long, but we have to abide by it because this is a court for everybody. And in terms of the DC for the people that resign before they could account and the fact that they are being recycled in different departments, we make sure that when a member, we are investigating and a member decide to resign, that is official, we go to court to freeze their pension. so that they don't get their pension and they can be accountable based on whatever irregularity they've caused the department, for the department to have make any loss. So we freeze their pension, and as a result, we also cite them in the civil papers so that they can be accountable, because they are the one that has caused the government to lose money. And after the matters has been finalized, the verdict will be there whether if there's any portion of blame that is put against them, then if there's monetary value, we are able to take money out of them so that they can able to do it. But the other thing, what we do also is that some of them, they resign, they go to private sector. And if they go to private sector, we still refer that disciplinary to the same department or the same municipality, because we know that sometimes these people tends to come back after the cooling off period when everybody has forgotten that there was finding against them. So we still refer, even if they left, we refer to the department, and we inform the department that they must also check and see whether the person is nowhere in government department. But if the people have gone to other department, we refer the DC to that new department where the member's gone, so that action can be taken against them. So the other question is, how long is the process
In
of getting
conclusion, Mr. Lekhet,
Honorable Chair?
yeah, we would like you to get to understand that our meetings is for 10 to 1 o'clock, and there are other matters on the agenda items. So when you feel that you would want to send us detailed reports, just indicate that you would send via the secretary. As you conclude.
Okay. As I conclude, Chair, particularly on this one, regarding how long does the proclamation get issued, on this one also, we have entered into MOU with the Department of Justice and the Presidency so that we can regulate the process. Based on what we have counted is that it should take a month for a proclamation to be issued. But also we are taking cognizance that there are other issues that the department are busy with, but the process is regulated. We've got MOU with both the department and the Presidency. Otherwise, with regard to other questions, Chair, we will put them in writing, particularly those that were not answered by the Hawks, because some of the questions are almost the same. So we'll put them in writing. For example, the performance over 5 years will indicate what is it that we have achieved over the past 5 years. But thank you so much, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Lekheto. Now I would turn over to the Ministry for remarks so we can conclude this item.
Thank you, Chair. I thought the Minister was going to do that because I see he's still on the platform. But thank you for the opportunity. Minister, I don't know whether you are able to do that.
No, I was told by the chair that I'm coughing too much, so I handed over to you.
This should be the last time that SAPS comes here without knowing what to do. Please, over to you, Minister. Can we finish?
Yeah, I think that Deputy Minister Matale can just make some brief concluding remarks. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, DM.
Thank you, Chair. No, we came here prepared and we know what to do, Chair. It's just that when I saw him still connected, I felt probably it will be appropriate, and I appreciate that you came. And Minister, thank you for, despite your health challenges, you felt it necessary to sit through and be part of these proceedings. It's highly appreciated from our side to be led by somebody who takes his work very seriously to this extent. But however, we want you healthy, Minister. But thank you, Chair and committee members and the leadership from the South African Police Services in the form of DPCI. And the SIU, the acting head of the SIU. The presentations were quite helpful, and always members of the NCOP, through you, Chair, they have been engaging with us constructively. We have learned a bit. We are wiser now than we were before we came to you. The questions you have raised and the suggestions, and obviously as the SIU, the DPCI was responding, it is becoming clearer, as the Minister said in his opening remarks, that we should coordinate much better so that we then as a cluster present a cluster perspective on the issues that we were discussing today. Because if you look at them, they interface with justice, they interface with the police, they interface with the SIU. So it's clear that if we can, going forward, integrate, particularly when we want to update on matters that clearly are interdepartmental, it assists even members and even the management of time. The hour we could use to make a single presentation that encompasses everybody, it then leaves you with more time to can ask us questions, and then we respond to that. But nevertheless, Chair, your able leadership made it possible that we do what we have been able to do. I would like to thank you, and thank you, Minister, and get well soon. And of course, acknowledge the presence of the Deputy Minister Bushielo, Dr. Bushielo, on the platform, and everybody else. Thank you so much, Chair. Chair, I think you are muted. We can't hear you.
Okay, thank you, DM. I was saying I want to extend our gratitude as the Select Committee that today we had yourselves in full force with us with two entities that are important in terms of fighting crime and corruption. We would know these days that everything that we speak and that our people feel that we are doing is corruption rather than servicing them. We are concerned about the state of the security and justice cluster, given the report of systemic fraud and corruption within the departments as presented today. We encourage consequence management, disciplinary measures, and the prosecution of cases, as well as the recovery of stolen funds. We encourage the SIU and the DPCI to continue with its work to fight fraud and corruption within the sector. As parliamentarians, we will ensure that we follow up all these matters that we have deliberated on today, make sure that we play our oversight, particularly visit to the Master's office. We further want to say to your good selves that we want to thank you for your work and fight against corruption, and encourage you to continue with the important work and to ensure that you protect the whistleblowers. But I want to say, as I adjourn this meeting and only members should remain, we want to acknowledge the report by SIU that is community-centric in terms of public awareness, because we must never leave our communities behind as we do this work, so that they must understand that we are government at work. With that being said, we want to thank you as you leave the platform.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Chair.
For Immigration Amendment Bill. I'm now noting hands of members who would want to second. Honorable members, can you hear me? Honorable Nonkonyane? Honorable Nonkonyane?
Chair, I was saying I was moving for the adoption, Chair.
Any
Am I
second
audible?
for the minutes. You are audible. There's somebody who's muting me. I don't know who's that person. You are noted that you have adopted the
Pardon,
minutes.
host.
Billy, come on. Any second for the minutes as adopted by Honorable Nonkonyane? Honorable members, are you in the meeting or you just joined and left the platform?
I second, Chair.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, you seem to be off again, Chair.
Meeting me. I'm not off. Now we are on the second minutes.
Chair, good afternoon, Chair, and good afternoon, honourable members. Chair, I will move for the adoption of the second minutes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Pala. Any second for the minutes?
A second, Chair.
Okay, thank you, Gozo. Members, we now move for the third minutes of the 25th, 11/26 Immigration Amendment Bill adoption with Department of Justice. Honorable members, what's happening with your gadget? I cannot see your hands or anything, but I can see that Honorable Kotel, there's an iconic border that shows that you are speaking, but I cannot hear you on my side.
Chair,
Yes, Honorable
good afternoon.
Pala.
I'll do the same. Chair,
right.
I'll do the same if you hear me. If you hear me, I can do this. I'll do the same. I move for the adoption. Thank you.
Yes. Any second members?
Honorable Chandra Mukaye, I second.
Noted, Honorable Mukai. Minutes are duly seconded. Can we move for the fourth minutes of the 25th, 12/03 with Magistrate Commission? Honorable Mukai, I can see that your mic is still on. Do you want to move for the minutes?
No, my mic was off, Chair, but I can move for the minutes. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair.
Okay, any seconder?
I'll do the same. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Pala. We are now on the fifth minutes of the 26th or 1:30 judges and magistrate salaries. when we are deliberating on that. Members, I'm noting your hands. Honorable Noe, over to you.
I move for adoption of the minutes, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Noe. Any seconder?
I do second, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Pala. You are so progressive. We are now moving for the 6 minutes, 260218, with regards to one-stop border bill and subs. Members, I'm now noting hands for inputs or seconding or amendments. Honorable members, Honorable Noe.
Thank you once more, Chair. I move for adoption of the minutes.
Thank you, Honorable Noe. Any seconder?
I second.
Thank you, Honorable P. Now, members, we're moving to our last set of minutes, 2602, 25th, DMV houses beneficiaries. Honorable Bill, I still see you that your mic is open. Do you want to move for the adoption of the minutes as true reflection? Or you just hang in there? Honorable members, last set of minutes.
Chair Honorable Mokaye, I move for the adoption of the minutes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Mukaye. Any seconder for those minutes as a true reflection of the meeting? Honorable Zulu.
I second the chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you, honorable members. That concludes the meeting, and thank you for your maximum participation.